Welcome to the deep dive. So many of us have been there or know someone who has. You're dealing with this intense, widespread pain, and you hear those words. All your tests came back normal.
And that gap, that space between your suffering and what the tests show, that's where so much confusion and honestly, so much distress can live.
Yeah, exactly. So for our deep dive today, we really want to focus on that. We're going to get into fibromyalgia or FM and use the latest science to to show that this pain is real.
Absolutely. It's measurable, and it is definitely not all in your head.
So let's start with the foundation. Major medical guidelines now see fibromyalgia as a legitimate chronic condition. It's actually called chronic primary pain.
Right, which means the pain is the illness. It's not a symptom of something else, like structural damage. It's coming from an altered nervous system.
An altered nervous system, what does that actually mean?
Well, the key concept here is something called nociplastic pain. It's a big word, but it just means the pain signals aren't coming from damaged tissue. They're coming from a change in how the central nervous system itself functions. Think of it like this. Your nerves and brain are the hardware, and that hardware has changed how it processes everything.
So if I'm getting this right, it's like the body's volume knob for pain is just stuck on maximum. The input might be normal, but the output is overwhelming.
That's a perfect way to describe it, and we have physical proof. We can actually see it. Studies show that nearly 70% of people with FM have signs of what's called small fiber pathology.
Small fiber, so the actual nerve endings.
Exactly. The tiny nerve fibers in your skin that transmit pain and temperature, they're reduced. And that helps explain why sensitivity to touch or heat and cold is so incredibly high.
Okay, so if the wiring at the edges is affected, what's happening at the central control panel in the brain? I know fMRI studies have given us a window into that.
They really have. It's fascinating. Researchers see this. This huge, measurable spike in brain activity.
Mhm.
And here's the key part. It happens before any painful stimulus is even applied.
Wait, so the brain is already reacting.
It's already anticipating a threat, even when there isn't one. The nervous system is in this constant state of hypervigilance,
Like the body's fight or flight system is just always on.
always on. And that's why the symptoms go way beyond pain. Right. You see poor sleep, that crushing fatigue, even sensitivity to light and sound.
And this idea of being on high alert, it brings us to maybe the most difficult part of this whole conversation, the link to stress and trauma.
Hmm.
It's what so often leads to that really harmful psychosomatic label.
It is, and we have to be so careful here. Fibromyalgia is a neurophysiological condition,
Yeah.
but the link to trauma is, well, it's profound.
How strong is that link?
One study found that a staggering 84% of participants had experienced a significant traumatic event before their pain even started. Things like childhood, emotional neglect, or abuse.
But doesn't focusing on that risk, reinforcing the idea that it's a psychological problem, not a physical one, that's the fear?
That's such an important distinction to make. Trauma can make the nervous system vulnerable. It's a risk factor for sure. But here's the other side of the coin.
Okay.
Research also shows that the longer you live with chronic pain and the more severe it is, the more likely you are to develop anxiety and depression.
So the mental distress is a consequence of living with the pain.
It's very often a consequence,
Yeah.
an agonizing one. It's your body and mind reacting to a painful, draining, and misunderstood illness. It's not the driver.
And realizing that, I mean, that distinction feels like the greatest gift a proper diagnosis can offer.
It really is. After years of being dismissed, sometimes a decade, just getting that validation is profoundly therapeutic.
It confirms that what you're feeling, the pain, the fatigue, the brain fog, it's all part of a recognized physical illness.
It's real, it's measurable, and it reflects a genuine physical change in how your nervous system is working. It's not a psychological failing. Not at all.
So as we wrap up, it seems like the core of this is a nervous system that's just stuck on high alert, constantly perceiving threat.
Exactly. And since we know that stress and that sense of threat can physically alter how our nerves work, maybe the path forward isn't just about fighting the pain. Perhaps the goal is to gently, slowly nurture the entire system back to a place where it can finally feel safe again.